Hey guys, welcome back to Pillbox Movies. I'm Hank, and today we're going to be watching the 2005 sci-fi animated film Summer Wars. This is a film by Mamoru Hosada. He's been known for a lot of recent, well-regarded, critically acclaimed films. I'm hoping to do a bunch of them on this channel, actually, because it's summertime and he kind of has a summertime vibe to his films. One of his animated features I really resonated with back in my youth, and that was the Digimon movie, or the specific segment he did, Our Summer War Games, something like that. Anyways, he has this beautiful conception of the internet, of the digital realm, as expressed through that anime, and I believe in this one too. So I want to check it out and, I don't know, vibe with his whole aesthetic and whatnot. And before we get started, don't forget to click the like button and subscribe for more old, obscure, and art house films. Join my Patreon if you want to help support the work I do and catch even more exclusive stuff. Alright, let's watch Summer Wars. Yeah, if for any of you who are old enough or young enough to have seen the Digimon movie, I'm sure the aesthetic of this movie will seem very familiar. With those Nokia-era cell phones. This kind of dialogue overlap, this kind of inundation of information, everything happening kind of simultaneously and kind of overwhelming you, was definitely a part of the Digimon movie's aesthetic. There's really great kind of design decisions that you can take away from that movie. This idea of an avatar, this idea of designing it or customizing it to your own style. This is presaging a lot of elements of the kind of meta world, the metaverse, the digital world that we would all kind of interact with in one way or another in the future years. All of this from 2005. Okay, and we'll set up the central idea of communication in this early on in this movie. An idea that there's a real need for communication, a deeper need for communication that surpasses this kind of liminal surface level communication, like true understanding. It's such a beautiful aesthetic. Really, I'd love to know where Hosoda got his concept of the internet from. It's so brilliant. And the real world communication, again. Their real world personas as opposed to their avatars. I might be misremembering this, but I do kind of like this country girl, this girl next door archetype that he has, that is also present in The Girl Who Leapt Through Time, and to a degree in the mother figure in Wolf Children. It just looks so awesome, doesn't it? You gotta get into Hosoda's films if you haven't. This is the kind of candy-colored pop aesthetic that I resonate with. So Digimon, the movie. One of my favorite Digimon designs came from that. The ultimate form of the virus Digimon, Diaboromon's its mega form. But I really love the kind of clown or Pierrot designs. Piedmon, definitely. Piedmon's one of my favorite Digimon. And similarly to Digimon, this is wrapping its plot around birthday celebrations and the countryside. I think Kari was mad at Tai for getting her a bad birthday present, and Matt and TK are off in the country visiting their grandparents. Oh, it wasn't Kari before with the hat, it was Sora. Okay. He's a little bit of a child prodigy. I really kind of love the fluidity of Hosoda's animation style. From what I've seen, he really kind of eschews the flat style. So he really loves to bring you into the depth of the screen. And definitely engages that in his computer animations sequences. What? 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 You've been hoodwinked! What? 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 Well then. Ooh, holding it much longer than you'd want it to be held. Yeah. I mean, I think you could get a clear sense that Hosoda kind of gets a little bit of his humor from tempered or evened out from doing it on television, working on animated series, but it is still kind of refreshing, especially since I watch so much like ponderous, like serious animated stuff.
いつも元気なおばあちゃんが寝込んでるって聞いたから、私の彼氏連れて行くまで死んじゃダメよって思わず。
Uh-huh.
姉ちゃんめっと。
And I love the kind of animation style that, for this era, this time in his career, that Hosoda uses. I'm like, I'm trying to get a hold of my thoughts, and I'm doing a really bad job of it. I haven't edited, or I haven't recorded it in a while. And this movie is going kind of really fast. It's an anime, it's for children, I know, but it's presenting a lot of kind of information to absorb. I'm not the best authority on animation in any way whatsoever, but just as an elementary precursor kind of lesson, animation is broken down into like different levels of definition or movement. And so when you animate something, it would be too costly and take too much time to actually animate every single motion within like 24 frames per second. And so animators have this system of, I think it's like 1, 2, 3s of doing 1 repeated frame or 2 repeated frames or 3 repeated frames, and it gives a sense of motion because the eye eventually smooths out these frames into a motion, and it can create the sensation of an animated figure moving really fast or moving kind of slow or jagged or jankily. And so an aspect that I really like of Hosoda's animation from this era, it's very blunt. It's not very seamless in the way that some animation styles are. What's a really smooth Disney movie? Something like Hunchback of Notre Dame or Aladdin, for example, where the movements seem really kind of fluid and natural, and you don't really notice the animation that much. But in this case, it is very obvious, but a thing that's really cool about it, because it's so exaggerated and because it's so kind of herky-jerky, it gives a really great sense of weight to the characters. You can actually feel in the way that they're animated when characters are kind of like arching, when they're like at the peak or arc of a movement, and then they eventually follow through. It gives a really great sense of momentum, and we saw it illustrated with that pitch just now. This is a really deliberate and evocative animation style, for early animation style for an animator or director, and I'm pretty sure as we move along through his career he's going to smooth this out dramatically. But because this is something I grew up with so much in the Digimon movie, I really like it for what it is, rough as it is. And another thing is that Hosoda's pretty enthusiastic about animating kids. He has a lot of kids. You can kind of get a sense that he really likes the exaggerated kind of features and movements of children. His adults he keeps kind of static, and his children are like almost like a fisheye lens or like a wide angle lens. They're just so exaggerated and kind of contorted towards the center of the screen. I think in Digimon the movie, you really got a sense of that with the animation of Kari.
あれ、挨拶ってことは僕夏希ちゃんとやっちゃいましたってことじゃないの？違うの、大学生でしょ。なんだっていいの。母さんが認めれば。うちはそうやって回ってるの。
Establishing a really kind of important idea of family and hierarchy in her family. So we've actually established kind of another soft divide between these two characters. While Kenji is kind of like coming from like this internet world where it's a democratic place where people are awarded for their abilities, and Natsuke is coming from an old world where family and tradition and respect for hierarchy is the most important thing. So Kenji arguably is coming from a world where your value is placed in what you do, and Natsuki is coming from a world where you're valued for who you are.
みんなのところへは行かないの？なんかよ、わびすけ。
よ、ババア、まだ生きてたか。
Oh, Jesus. A little bit of family discord.
食べたかい？
And I like the kind of snakish design they've made around his mouth and in terms of his face shape. He says, boys are furry. Didn't even think about that. Solve me.
Ah, 溶けた.
It really is Ready Player One. It's a virus. A running theme, I'd say, in the Hosoda that I've seen is that the world is like an influx of information. There's so much constantly thrown at us, pitted against us, and what's needed is sometimes like clarity of heart or clarity of vision to see through that and to find the kernel of truth.
これは僕だ.
Oh shit. Oh no. What have you done? It was a riddle.
2056桁の暗号で守られている。それを誰かが一晩で解いちまった。それ、僕です。
僕のアバターでいたずらするのはやめてください.
I really love that his avatar is a Mickey Mouse stand-in. Oh shit, it's him. Oh god. It's hilarious how similar it is to Digimon, but just amped up so tremendously. Oh my god. And I love the idea of doing this battle mode while just typing on a laptop. Yeah, and this is also the same as Digimon the movie, where the bad Digimon, I forgot what its name, but it keeps on absorbing data so that it can evolve. It's the exact same movie. It better not be Wabasuke. And the same rush of like emails and hate mail that Tai and Izzy got in Digimon. Yeah, another kind of difference between their two families. You can actually see very slightly just a little bit of movement in her eyes, like her eyes are shining over from like tears or from being moved. Yeah, I love this kind of fake wide-angle lens that Hosoda employs to just exaggerate features. And once again, this is a shot in our war game. This is also a shot in... I'll just keep bringing it up over and over again. I'm gonna splice this entire thing with Digimon the movie, and in this case, this is a shot of Kari at a birthday party. And again, kind of running the parallels of this being a game for the hacker. Wow. Just the creativity with which Hosoda kind of envisions like the internet, the digital world as like a board state, as a board game. Just a really beautiful kind of conceptualization of watching systems be overturned. And the grandmother's providing the voice of reason amongst all this chaos. These people who have like been used to taking orders from like a system. In a way, it's like a really kind of simplistic view of disaster response, but I guess Hosoda's taking the position that common sense is needed in the absence of that. It's a comforting worldview. So looking for a user? Okay, we just saw that. That was a clue. The avatar, that logo that he was looking at was on the back of the grandmother's kimono. So it wasn't you. Wabisuke. 3 separate programming geniuses. And the evil Oz also looks like... Well, he didn't make that one, did he? I was gonna say it looked like the evil Digimon in the 3rd part of the Digimon movie, but I don't think Hosoda developed that one.
米軍から正式なオファーがあった。
You probably signed an NDA. You probably shouldn't be showing that. Wow. Wow. This has gone further than I expected it to. He just wanted validation. Like any black sheep.
もし私が勝ったら、あの子をよろしく頼むよ。
Eh?
確か今は言えません。
Let's just start.
私の勝ち。
There's gotta be symbolism in that. I don't know what it is, but whatever. She died? I think maybe a bit inorganic plot development to have him make the promise to her in the scene right before this.
異常がありゃすぐにアラームが上がる仕掛けだが、昨日の夜からのデータが送られてない。
This is a fun script. I would want it to have a bit of work on the character of Natsuki.
戦ってこそ弔いじゃねえのか。
僕も賛成です。僕らだけでも奴を止めないと。
I have liked this aspect of Kenji's character, though, that he's really, really slow to state his what's in his heart. He even had this in the heart-to-heart with the grandmother.
大丈夫なんですか？
大丈夫大丈夫。
Why not just bring the generator? Why did you need to bring the whole boat?
何ですかこれ？
ミリ波通信用のアンテナモジュール。松本の駐屯地から借用してきた。
I really don't like this aspect of this family. I mean, it's cool and all. Like, it's nice to have, like, cool gadgets and stuff and play superhero or spy or war games and stuff. This family's got its hands in a lot of nefarious pies. Apparently, this family is deeply entrenched in Japanese government and corporations, which is not a good thing. And I love all the responses. It's just so cool. I just don't think Ready Player One had a good sense of proportion to it. Hyperbaric time chamber. And the shape of the security system is meant to, you know, evoke the old Japanese mansion stylings, like the house. I'm a little upset that this movie isn't as well developed in terms of theme or story as it could be, but it is in terms of like a pyrotechnic display, like watching like an interesting design and interesting execution and choreography. It's great for that.
なんだこれ？あ？ここにあった氷は？よいしょ。
Just blows Ready Player One out of the water. Come on, that's fucking rad. It's a countdown. It can't be bombs again. We already did this. Hosta, we already did this. Wow. Wow. Now he's stolen over King Kazuma. This is a scene where Tai was crying over Agumon being hurt, and then he eventually goes through the computer.
数学とは違うんだよ。
同じです。諦めたら解けない。答えは出ないままで
He's
す。
finally found his voice.
ばあちゃんが死んだ？
おばあちゃんの誕生日忘れてたなんて嘘。だってパスコードが8月
Her
1日だったもの。
birthday. Oof. Oof. That's a lovely representation.
家族へ。まあ、まずは落ち着きなさい。
Yes. The wisdom of grandmother.
それともしわびすけが帰ってきたら、もし帰ってくることがあったら、
So
きっと
feed
お
him.
腹を空かせていることだろうから、いつもと変わらず一番いけないのはお腹が空いていることと、
I think that's a wonderful sentiment. I don't know if it's expressed through the story of an internet virus. I think the family dynamic in this movie is really beautifully realized. And I think the design of the internet world is beautifully realized. And I think you need a version of this. You need to put the two together because each, while they're so stunning, don't really stand alone as a movie. But I don't think they complement each other exactly well. I guess in the face of overwhelming crisis, you've got to eat with your family. We've gotten to another everything everywhere all at once. So let's set up a riddle for him. Ah, that game. That's a nice wraparound. He was looking for one of those accounts because he represented Wabasuke's wants and desires. So it was looking for Natsuki's or grandmother's. Hilarious, doing it on a Nokia phone. You need one more. I honestly don't know what to make of this climax. 74. Where do I know that number from? Oh, one more. Who is it? It's a German person? Oh, it's the same ending as Digimon. I should have known. They're all gonna come together. The people of the internet are gonna come together to support her. Oh my god. It's actually Digimon. I'm so stupid. I should have known this entire time. Oh my god. Literally Digimon. Yeah, I mean, secretly. Yes, a little bit. See, I'm having a hard time resolving this as being Natsuki's character arc because she wasn't looking for a family over the course of this story. That to me sounds more like it would be Kenji or Wabasuke's arc. Like, Natsuki wanted to become good enough for her family, definitely, and this is fulfilling that aspect of the arc, but she wasn't looking for her family to increase, or to open up to her family exactly. Literally, the people of this world do not know how to play this game. Oshidashi. So it'll be King, Kazuma, and the original account. Yeah, but the Digimon ending, when Omnimon slashed through Diaboromon's head, and in the English version he goes, Willis. Yatta. Yeah, there's still 2 accounts left. But why did it stop before? Oh, I see. This is gonna kill that fucking dog. Much more optimistic look on existential threats than what we have these days. This is Ty's unplugged from the internet face. Oh yeah, just freeball it. We trust you. I mean, I think it's brilliant that it decided to end with this face. I think that's made it up for everything. Beautiful shot. That probably killed the god of the forest, I have to imagine. Oh, it's an onsen. That's funny. And they all came to give their respects. A new baby sister. Never in the history of the world would the American government admit wrongdoing. Ever, ever, ever. If we can't admit to light government overthrows in Latin America, we're not going to admit to this. Oh, that's cute. She looks like Chihiro in that shot. That was cute. That was cute. I'm glad it went for like the happy, absurd ending instead of like trying to make any sort of impressions that it was a serious movie. I was kind of hoping this would be a serious movie, and it didn't turn out to be that, but in lieu of that, it acknowledging that it's an unserious movie and not trying to be deeper than it is, I can live with that, I guess. I really liked the two separate elements of this movie, the two separate stories of this, the story of the family and the story of the internet crisis. In terms of presenting a serious story, I don't think they gelled together perfectly well. I think on separate ends, the family story is like really, really beautiful, and the internet story is really, really well designed. But the internet story is too unserious to match with the family story, which is optimistic and which is bright and chooses not to be sad, but is still too serious for the internet story. So I liked how they kind of tried to wind back the clock as much as possible for the family story at the end and make it about joy and making it about celebrating your loved ones and celebrating the time that you have. But it's, I just feel personally, it's still the internet story, for all of its wonder and its brilliant conception, is too frivolous to match up well. Director Mamoru Hosoda selected a story both for people with family and those without a family, I guess. Yeah, Murakami, I can see that. Yeah, I think this was like much better done. A much better version of the Digimon movie, of our war game. But having said that, I don't think it's that much more thematically deep or rich than the Digimon movie. And for an audience of me, an old man watching this, wanting to watch this as a serious film, that's a little bit of a problem. After 10 years developing as an artist, or 9 years developing as an artist, I think you should have a little bit more thematic depth or richness to your storytelling than you did when you made a children's TV special. Maybe that's just me speaking, because I really love Digimon the movie, and I really loved the design elements to this, but I did want a little bit more. So let's hope that in his subsequent films, which we'll be checking out, Hosoda takes the good and leaves behind the bad, and see how he develops as an artist. And who knows, maybe taking more inspiration from like folk tales or fairy tales might deepen his themes. So yeah, that was Summer Wars. I'm excited to check out his other stuff. Yeah, let me know if you've seen Summer Wars, if you've seen any of Hosoda's other work. And if you have any other recommendations, have at it. In the meantime, don't forget to click the like button and subscribe for more old, obscure, and art house films. This is treading the line, but... And until next time, keep watching good movies.